Okay, now I think I'm going to put your favorite quarterback really low, so you should definitely make sure to watch this 2024 Post-Minicamp NFL QB tier list right here on Roll Coverage.
Hey, I thought it was all over.
Nope. They roll coverage.
Okay, so here we are. We're at the tier list, and it's time to show you our options. First, number one. I think we know who's going to go in that position, but you might be surprised. Elite, great, good, one above average, mid, below average, bad, awful, how are you on a roster, or a rookie who hasn't played yet. Now, obviously, I'm going to be taking into account the current roster that quarterback is going to be having to deal with. So if Patrick Mahomes was on my Carolina Panthers, he's probably not in the number one category. So let's move on. First one, Russell Wilson. Last year, he was good, not the best. I think he's above average, but if he's your starter, are you really going to win at the highest level? I'm not really sure. I do think that he can bridge a gap until somebody like a Fields is able to hopefully make it. But then again, Fields also hasn't proved that he's a true quarterback number one regardless. His record would state that he's actually a bad quarterback. But every offensive coach thinks that they can fix a quarterback, so it's going to be a very interesting year with Arthur Smith at the helm. Now, obviously there was a little bit of a shakeup with some staff in Cleveland. Geesh. So Deshaun Watson, I'm going to put him as mid. He has great defensive pieces. He has some really good offensive pieces as well. But it's really, can he get it done? Obviously, last year we saw Joe Flacco come in and take them to the playoffs. And to be honest, it would have been absolutely insane if Joe Flacco won a Super Bowl for the Ravens and then won it again for the Browns. Absolutely would have cemented his legacy as one of the best ever. But fell a little short. But now it's time for Deshaun Watson to finally live up to his contract. Whether or not he's going to do that, something completely separate. Joe Burrow is going to have to be in the elite category. I am going to be one of the first people to tell you that I believe he will never win a Super Bowl. I think that Cincinnati is just not the right place for it, just like Detroit wasn't the right place for Matt Stafford. And I think those two are going to be pretty comparable careers. Joe Burrow is going to be able to throw a ton. The offense kind of changed a little bit with Joe Mixon being out of the mix. But to be honest, you were really depending on his offensive firepower to do everything and the defense to just kind of keep up. So it's really boom or bust with him. So the Bengals live and die by Joe Burrow. Lamar Jackson, same thing. I am going to put him ahead of Joe Burrow, though. I do think Lamar is probably the second best quarterback in the league. He's arguably the most versatile, absolutely crazy speed, elusiveness. The way he works in Baltimore is the perfect synergy that a team is looking for between the organization and the quarterback. So it's one of those things that you don't even need to think about it. Lamar Jackson is a Baltimore Raven and will hopefully stay there for a very long time. I do think with the addition of Derrick Henry as well, the Baltimore Ravens are really in the pole position for the Super Bowl, regardless of that he may not be the number one quarterback. Josh Allen is elite. Actually, no. I'm going to change mine. Joe Burrow is better than Josh Allen. And in my opinion, Josh Allen, like I've said, regardless of what Bills fans have told me, I don't think that Josh Allen can win a Super Bowl with the Buffalo Bills. So with the team around him, I don't think that's going to be possible. He's kind of more of a hero ball guy, but he is a big, strong guy, kind of like a Carson Wentz, just not as injury prone. The Bills got rid of Diggs. They got Keon Coleman, who I really like, and again, I believe will end up their wide receiver number one when it comes to yards. But overall, I just don't think he's ever going to be able to get over the hump or get anybody else over that hump. But if he's in your fantasy team, man, if this was a fantasy list, he'd be high up there. Tua, he's great. Got a really good arm. Incredibly accurate. The pieces around him are absolutely insane with Odell Beckham, Jaden Waddle, and Tyreek Hill, the cheetah, on the team. So when it comes to that, I think it's a bit crazy, and I think it's something that we should kind of talk about moving forwards. This Tua offense is either going to really work or all of this offensive firepower was for nothing, and they're going to be searching in the future for a different quarterback to hopefully get them over that hump. Or do they get to a place where they fire Mike McDaniel and hold him accountable? That's going to be an interesting one. Oops. Next one is Drake May. I think he's going to be above average to start, especially. Patriots offense is an interesting one, we'll say the least. Really don't have a ton on the offensive side, but you do have some rookies that you're bringing in that could really spice things up. Obviously, we have changes in the organization when it comes to head coach or coaching in general. There's an entire new philosophy, so it's going to be a really interesting project, I would say. I would say right now he's above average. Long term, he's probably going to succeed at a high level, but I don't know if that's Super Bowls. And right now, like I said, where he's at, that's what he's going to do. I would say Aaron Rodgers is good. He's a really good quarterback, but he's really going to get carried by absolutely stellar weapons. A situation that's going to cover for him at every turn, as we've seen the Jets do. And just he's going to be able to kind of do whatever he wants. Again, he's the guy famous for dirtying balls because he doesn't like the coverage or he doesn't like the play or something like that. So for that, he's there. Now, this one's going to be a controversial one. I'm going to put him, Will Levis, behind Deshaun Watson. I do think that Levis can become something, even though I was a staunch anti-Levis guy. With the pieces around him, any quarterback should have a great opportunity to succeed with those pieces. Defense is obviously going to change up too. Again, they've got a little bit of changes at coaching. So the Titans are going to be an interesting one. That entire division is going to be a very interesting one this year. Speaking of in division, CJ Stroud. I would put him ahead of Josh Allen. The reason why I would say that is Josh Allen, I believe, is 29. CJ Stroud is 24. Let's just look it up. 22, I'm sorry. Josh Allen, age 28. So he's 6 years younger, won a Pro Bowl, won a playoff game in his first year. The Texans are fully behind him, and they're pushing for a Super Bowl already. So I think that immediate turnaround is something that not even Josh Allen was able to do. So for that reason, I'm going to put him above that. I do think obviously he's a little full of himself right now, but you were the youngest person to ever win a playoff game. So I'm not saying you can't have that confidence. You deserve that confidence. Here's the newest paid man in town. I would say that Rodgers is still better than Lawrence right now. Lawrence is the prototype, though. Like, he's the size, age, everything like that. He's just now getting his first big contract at 25. So Trevor Lawrence has a lot of years ahead of him. But right now, to say that he would be better than Aaron Rodgers, I don't really see that. But it could come to fruition soon. Anthony Richardson is the same thing kind of with Will Levis. I think Will Levis will be able to succeed with the weapons, and the Colts have a crazy roster around Anthony Richardson. It's strictly going to come to his health. It's just going to be an interesting one. I don't know. If he ends up injured again with a major injury, this could be a really bad pick for the Colts. But overall, I don't think that's really going to be the case. I think Richardson has a good head on his shoulders. And again, as long as his health can be on his side, he will be okay. Patrick Mahomes, I'm just going to give it to him. Might as well. He's number one. I don't think I really need to do a whole lot of talking with that. Patrick Mahomes, 3 rings in 5 years or 6 years. Like, just crazy. Offense has been on point. Andy Reid, a Hall of Fame coach now, if he wasn't already. And yeah, they're just bringing in some new pieces. It's going to be really interesting. And of course, Xavier Worthy, the fastest guy in the combine, goes to the Chiefs. So that's going to help him out quite a bit. This one, I think, is going to upset some people. I do think that Bo Nix will be above average. Now, obviously, I've got a rookie thing down there where I could put it down there or say hasn't proved enough. But this is where I really feel like they're going to end up. Bo Nix is going to be a sleeper for a lot of people. I think he's going to take a lot of franchises by surprise. In fact, I even put up a poll on my Twitter, which if you don't follow me, it's at Roll Coverage Pod, I believe, on Twitter, or at Roll Coverage. And I asked people, who do you think is going to have more yards? Bryce Young, Bo Nix, Anthony Richardson, and Levis. And obviously, I'm a pro Panthers thing, so people are going to go Bryce Young, but Bo Nix, I think, is really going to surprise a lot of people, and I think he's going to be the starter game 1. Zach Wilson is the backup somewhere now. Zach Wilson is the backup. Zach Wilson for the Broncos. So if he's the backup for the Broncos, I'm going to put him down here. I don't think he's proved enough. Or actually, you know what? I don't even know how he's on the roster. I'm not a big Zach Wilson fan. I hated that you guys, meaning the Jets, took him with such a high pick coming out of BYU. He's everything wrong with quarterback evaluation. You guys loved him in shorts and a t-shirt, throwing in an air-conditioned gym for a pro day. But when it came to winning in college, he wasn't really able to do it at the highest level. So I don't really see why you drafted him. So we're just going to move on from that one. I do think Herbert is better than Tua. But again, I think it's the situation, especially now as we move forwards. That division is only going to improve. You've got Harbaugh in there for the Chargers. He's going to be doing it to more of a run-focused offense and a really smash-mouth defense. So I'm very excited for that, but that's obviously going to take the ball out of the hands of Herbert on occasion. So I expect his numbers to be close to the same, but maybe slump just a little as this offense develops moving forwards. If you needed to build a franchise right now, though, Herbert would be one of the ones that you'd want to go after, just like a lot of the guys up on the top part of this list. Yeah, Aiden O'Connell, I'm just not a fan, to be honest with you. I don't really know why people believe in him. I don't think Garoppolo was the solution either, but I feel like you guys went out and got a quarterback too. I'm not even sure. If it is, I'm going to pop it on the screen. If not, then I will look elsewhere. I think it might be Gardner. Let me pull it off screen. I can't remember who the back... It is Gardner. Okay, so Gardner down here is the backup. I think he's fine. Aiden O'Connell is probably behind him. But those are your two Raiders quarterbacks. That sucks. Let's move on. Jared Goff is really, 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 really good. Not great. I'm even a Goff fan, to be honest, for years. Especially if I was a Madden player, I would absolutely go and pluck Goff off of the roster and build around him because I really liked the way that he distributed the ball. I liked him as a Lion. I like him as a Ram. I think he's great for any organization. He's the perfect face for it. And again, as long as he's within some sort of system that's able to assist him a little bit, he's able to elevate people around him. Maybe not to the level of a Tom Brady. Well, of course, not to the level of a Tom Brady, but you know what I mean. So I think that's going to be an interesting one. This is a good one. So Darnold, I think, is going to be above average, and I think JJ's not going to play. Now, could JJ play and Darnold sit? Yeah, but Darnold really has a lot in the tank. He's still really young, regardless of how it seemed like he's been around the league forever. I want to say he's only like 27. Yeah, 27. So that is absolutely bananas, considering he's been in the league for what seems like 7+ years. But that one right there with Darnold and McCarthy, obviously these two could flip, but I think Darnold maintains the job the entire year. If they put in McCarthy, I don't think McCarthy ever looks back. But at the same time, with the weapons like Jordan Addison and Justin Jefferson, you better be able to execute that vision. So now when it comes to this, I would say he's better than Trevor Lawrence. He's better than him. I'd probably put him ahead of the good category, just behind Tua. I really like Tua, but I don't love him. I just like the situation that he's in specifically. When it comes to the ceiling, I think that, we don't need 15 elite guys up here. We really need to separate who's truly elite. Lamar Jackson and Joe Burrow can truly elevate talent just crazy high. Stroud was able to do that, but I only saw it for 1 year. Josh Allen's been able to do it intermittently. Herbert's been able to do it intermittently, and same thing with Tua, so that's why they're kind of like that. And then obviously Jordan Love, he just doesn't have a full body of work yet, but the body of work we saw was better than Goff, was better than Rodgers, was better than Lawrence. So that's why they are there. The Packers, I'm very excited for. Jordan Love is going to be a hopefully long-term quarterback for you, and that sucks. Coming from a Carolina Panthers fan, I wish we just had one quarterback. You guys have had 3 straight. I'm super happy for you. Caleb Williams, he hasn't proven anything yet, but with the pieces around him, I expect him to be at least above average, if not in the good category. A lot of people are saying from the training camp footage that he is struggling. So I could see this being an above average quarterback where he ends up with like 27 touchdowns, but it's like 14 picks, 3,800 yards, and, a few hundred rushing yards and maybe a rushing touchdown here or there. That would be a solid line for him in a first year, for any quarterback for that matter. I just think that the hype might eat him up a little bit, so that's going to be an interesting way how Caleb deals with that moving forwards. Dak Prescott should be higher in the league. I think he will be higher in the league when he ends up on another team. But you better hope he doesn't end up on a team that truly is stacked and ready to go. I could see a scenario where we get through the end of the season. Minnesota feels like Darnold isn't it, but he's good enough, and then McCarthy hasn't developed enough. Why not just go and grab Dak? Because at that point, you can give him a few-year deal. It'll probably be $55, $60 million, and that seems like a lot. But the way the salary cap is going to be in just 2 years, it's going to seem like pennies. Like I've said for years, by the end of 2030, they're expecting the per-year quarterback salary to be over $80 million.
Sorry. What did you say?
I think that's going to be something that's kind of not going to be a thing here soon, or they're just going to tie it to a certain percentage of the cap. I really, really like Jalen Hurts, but is he better than all these guys? He's better than Jared Goff. I don't know with this whole losing Jason Kelce if Jalen Hurts is really going to be able to get over that hump. I want to say he can. He's got great weapons on the offensive side. Defense has got some, but again, you've lost some key pieces over the years that might hinder your performance. And does the tush-push still continue to work? We're not sure without Jason Kelce there. So I think he could do more. I think he could be in the great category and make a Super Bowl and everything like that. But he'll make an appearance in the great category, not be a regular resident of that. Jaden Daniels, I'm super excited for, but to be honest, I'm not really sure where this is going to be. I'm going to say he's going to be pretty mid. I'm going to put him actually ahead of Caleb Williams now that I think about it. I think Jaden Daniels has the potential to be better than Caleb Williams because of the situation that he's going to be put in. The Bears have a lot of playmakers that are going to be asking for the ball, getting the ball in space, and they're going to be making those moves, those decisions. Whereas Jaden Daniels is going to have to really play street ball, essentially, at times to stay alive behind that offensive line. Now, they've still made progress there, and with Dan Quinn there, I hope that the defense will be able to help Jaden Daniels not have to score 30 points a game. But at the same time, he's really going to be relying on Terry McLaurin, Jahan Dotson, and, of course, that running back room. So it's going to be an interesting one. Daniel Jones, I think this could be the year where Daniel Jones really comes back into the fray and is like, oh, crap, here comes Daniel Jones. I want to say they have a solid quarterback in the wings. I'm thinking of Jared Goff. Behind Jared Goff is Jordan Travis from FSU, I think, or Hendon Hooker, one of the two. Somebody out there has Jordan Travis behind them, and that's going to be a real problem for somebody. But, yeah, I think Malik Neighbors, Jalen Hyatt with Daniel Jones is going to do great. Running back room is going to be interesting, but here comes Mr. Below Average and Derek Carr. I just don't believe in him. I haven't believed in him in a long, long time. I think he's pretty much done at this point. The only places I could really see him making a huge impact would be to be, say, backup in a place like San Francisco, or somebody that just needs you to come out there and execute a very clear West Coast vision, quick throws, and everything like that. So I could see something like that happening, but I just don't know, and I think this could be Dennis Allen's last year with Carr, or Dennis Allen's last year in general. So, Baker Mayfield, better than all these dudes. Yeah, I'm not going to lie. I think pretty high of Baker. I think that the Heisman was something that maybe got in his way, and then going to the Browns and that whole situation, the way everything happened, it's just been a lot. But he's found a pretty decent home in Tampa. A lot of people attribute last year to Dave Canales, but we're going to see how that goes. I do think he's still a really good quarterback, and if he comes out next year and still throws 30 touchdowns, I don't know how much credit I could really give to Dave Canales for helping Baker. So that'll solve that question this year. Kirk Cousins in Atlanta is going to be a really interesting one. I think that's going to be here again, I actually like something that I heard recently where Joy Taylor from Speak was talking on Kirk Cousins, and she's like, I don't understand why people always put Kirk in this realm of sainthood, essentially, where he has never won a quarter or a MVP. He doesn't have a Super Bowl appearance or anything like that, so he really wasn't one at the highest level. He's always kind of gotten to the playoffs and then fizzled it out, but he's a really good regular season quarterback. And the person behind him, Michael Penix, I think is going to potentially be better than him here soon. But I don't think we're going to be able to see much of any of Michael Penix, because I think if he gets on that field, Kirk doesn't come back. So that's going to be a really interesting. Now, this is the one, if you're a Carolina Panthers fan, you've been waiting for. This is Mr. Bryce Young. I believe in Bryce Young's potential. I said last year the personnel was subpar. People didn't believe me. Now everybody's finally coming around to that the personnel was subpar. I told you guys we couldn't evaluate Bryce last year because the personnel was subpar. This is a year where we have an offensive coach, offensive scheme, offensive weapons. We drafted offensively. Everything is being doubled down on Bryce. So if this is not Bryce's year, I don't know what else you guys want. He needs to be at least mid, so for that reason, I'm going to put him at the end of above average. We saw some great throws, and then there's some that if you really look at it, to be honest, he underthrew some, he overthrew some, but when you're running for your life, what can you do? Justin Fields, where was Russell Wilson? Where the hell did I put him? He's right there. Justin Fields, I would say, is right close to him. I'm actually going to put him behind Bryce because Bryce won more games his first year than I think Justin did. I thought Justin only won 3. Actually, that means he'd be better. Damn. Okay. That's it. I guess Bryce Young is worse than Justin Fields. But I like the potential of Justin Fields. I think he was the precursor to the C.J. Stroud phenomenon that we should have just seen coming. But obviously the Texans have been kind of a cursed franchise since Deshaun Watson left. So whether or not that was going to be something or not is yet to be found. But I think Justin has a potential to become something great in Pittsburgh, but he really needs to stay focused to be a better savant when it comes to the playbook than Russell Wilson and be able to go out there and execute it better than Russell Wilson. So I really like Geno Smith, but I do think he is helped by his teammates around him. If you were to give Tom Brady, DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett, he'd be able to do some damage because he did something similar with Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. So I think the weapons help out quite a bit. They make things a lot easier. The acquisition of JSN last year was really good. So that's going to be a great opportunity, but I think the loss of Pete Carroll is still going to be felt, so it's going to take some time to maybe get people all on the same page. So I'm going to give them a year. I still think Geno could be the starter, but we'll see moving forward. Stafford, I really like, but God, is he better than Trevor Lawrence right now? Probably. Is he better than Aaron Rodgers? Yeah. I feel pretty confident in that. I like Stafford. I don't love him. People always have fallen in love with Matt Stafford, C.J. Stroud included. And I just don't understand why. Even when it was the Super Bowl year, it was Cooper Kupp going crazy. Stafford's just putting the ball in the right place, and then Cooper Kupp is taking that and then running 10 times to help him out. So I just think that's a really interesting one. Kyler Murray, I think, is pretty fucking mid. I'm sorry. I'm going to say it. I'm just not a big fan. And just to not bury the lead, I will say that he is better than Josh Allen. So, yeah, that's official. This is my official list. We are all done. How did I do? Make sure you put it in the comments. My name is Nick. This has been Roll Coverage. Hopefully you enjoy the rest of the day. Hopefully you like this tier list. Link will be in the description. Otherwise, have a great rest of the day. Peace.